Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Welcome back to the Certified Mark Show, Ep.2. Ep.2, we made it. We finally made it. A lot of things I've done in my life, I have stopped after the first one, right? I feel like I've made a million podcasts. I feel like I've made a million YouTube channels, a million Instagram accounts, of course, all wrestling based. And I've stopped after the first one because it gets tiring. But there's something about this show that I absolutely love, and it's being able to talk to wrestlers, right? Being able to just sit here and talk to you guys, of course, is a lot of fun and it's great. But being able to talk to the professional wrestlers that I love to talk about and I love to watch on my TV every day is there's something about it. And it is absolutely awesome. And we have two great guests today. Front end, we have EJ and Nduka, who is currently killing it on the independent scene. He's been in Ring of Honor, he's been in AEW, he's been in MLW, he's been absolutely ever. He's been in WWE, he's been in NXT. EJ and Nduka is an absolute beast, and he is coming back for WWE. He is on that recovery journey back to WWE, working his way up once again. He will talk about his journey, of course, but he was entered into the WWE as an athlete, right? So he didn't have wrestling experience. So that was kind of the issue there. He got kind of birthed into the Performance Center, and now he's here years later with a wealth of knowledge and wrestling skills. So now he's coming back. He wants to come back, and he talks a lot about his journey and what he's up to now and his crazy conspiracy theories, which is super, super interesting to hear about and talk about. We even talked after the show a little bit about it. And on the back end, we have one of my childhood favorites, genuinely one of my childhood favorite wrestlers. I used to watch him. I have his action figures. I would watch him in 2009 when he was with CM Punk. I'd watch him in 2018 when he was with AJ Styles. And of course, his tag team partner still to this day, the Machine Gun Carl Anderson. It was Doc Gallows, formerly known as Luke Gallows in WWE, of course. Doc Gallows, he's an MLW tag team champion right now. He's been a WWE champion, WWE tag team champion. He's been absolutely everywhere. He's wrestled on pretty much every continent besides Antarctica, which we talk about in the program. That's going to be on the back end of the show. He's going to join us later. But before we get into EJ and Nduka, there is some news and notes we got to get into. Of course, the breaking news of the week, the breaking news that actually broke yesterday: Ilya Dragunov departing WWE. An absolute shocker. Man, so Ilya Dragunov gets, he tears his ACL. Well, so look, he comes in NXT and he's on fire. Then he goes to the main roster, he's on fire again. The thing is, he wasn't much of a money mover, right? And WWE is a business. We know this. WWE really only cares about the people that make the money and move the needle. Dragunov wasn't really that. His merchandise didn't sell super well. People loved him, especially the authentic hardcore wrestling fans love him because he is such a good worker and he can work with anyone. He's like Gunther, right? The issue is Gunther can sell tickets, Gunther can move merchandise. Dragunov just wasn't like that. And that news actually came out today per I think it was Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer, which said that was one of the main reasons. Dragunov was negotiating back and forth between a new deal, and unfortunately, um, it just wasn't worth it for WWE financially, and that's fine. But Dragunov departs WWE as of yesterday, right? I mean, he gets injured, he tears his ACL, he comes back, does a spot with Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. Everyone's kind of like, holy shit, this would be a sick match. Gets overshadowed by Jey Uso's yeeting entrance in the Royal Rumble, which was horrible, absolutely horrible. Then he loses the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and then he's off TV. He is off TV, and no one knows why, right? Is he injured? We know about injuries, right? We usually know about injuries when they happen because of all the dirt sheets and all the Wrestling Observer News and everyone, right? We know about injuries, but he gets lost in the shuffle. How do you have a guy like Ilya Dragunov who can work with absolutely anybody He can work at any part in the card, main event, opener. You can put him right in the middle if you want. But he got lost in the shuffle with creative, and that was the problem. I mean, when you get lost in the shuffle with creative, especially in WWE and even AEW, really, actually, it's very hard to find your way and pave your path. It really is. Um, you know, I think he is so much better out of WWE. I think he's going to find his place very, very quickly and very easily. You know, AEW would be, of course, a perfect spot for him, but the roster is so stacked already. I mean, I don't know what he would do. I don't know what they would do because, is a massive signing, but how stacked is this AEW roster already, right? There are already wrestlers who are so, so, so talented and aren't getting TV time because the AEW roster is so stacked. So you add Dragunov to this, and then another person is losing his TV time. But I mean, come on. Dragunov versus Zack Sabre Jr., Dragunov versus Swerve, Omega, Speedball, MJF, Hangman. The list goes on. Of course, with the wrestling style Ilya Dragunov is, AEW would be a perfect spot for him. But I don't know, man. I mean, look, this could be a massive signing for TNA, something small, like an overseas promotion, even like a Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. Dragunov is an elite talent, right? I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to see him in AEW. I absolutely do. I think that's the best spot for him. But I don't think WWE really was that spot. I think, here's what I'll say. I think him and Gunter's program was elite, right? It was absolutely elite in NXT UK. But then they get to the main roster and it's a different crowd, it's a different atmosphere, it's a different creative, right? It's different people with the pen and the pencil. And I think Dragunov just didn't really fit that criteria. I think it's all about who is the draw and who's not. And it doesn't matter how good of a wrestler you are. Of course, it does a little bit. But if you can move merchandise and you can move and make the WWE money, then you're going to be on TV. It's as simple as that, really. But anyways, this is, of course, breaking news. I was very shocked when I saw this, but I'm wishing the absolute best for Ilya Dragunov. I love him. He is an incredible talent, an incredible worker. Like I said, you can put him anywhere on the card with anyone, and he's just a workhorse, man. He really is. So, of course, Ilya Dragunov, wishing the absolute best for you. I'm really hoping you find your spot, which I know you will. I have the absolute faith that you will. But anyways, it is now time for our first guest of the Certified Mark Show, Ep.2. Of course, this is going to be a conversation with EJ and Nduka, a very, very interesting conversation with EJ and Nduka in a good way, of course. We talk a lot about his early life, his current life, and also hopefully his future life with the WWE, with AEW. He talks a little bit with his time in Ring of Honor. He talks about his time in NXT. He talks about his time in AEW, right? So there's a lot to get into with EJ and Nduka. Without further ado, enjoy the conversation. What is going on, everybody? How are we doing? My name is Josh, the Mark Markowitz, and we have a very special guest today because this man is a professional wrestling star. He's a bodybuilding champion. And well, it seems like recently he's an Instagram content creator a little bit. We got none other than EJ Nduka. EJ, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. I gotta tell you, I love your Instagram account. Like, you feel like it's not the normal professional wrestler Instagram account, yet it's so good, it's so perfect. Literally just saw as we were getting on this your AI crash post on Maxo. How did that come about?
Oh man, I've been having this idea for a while, but I haven't ran into Maxo at the gym. We've been going at different times, but I know what his car looks like. We always talk about cars and stuff. So he parked right next to me. I was like, oh, I gotta do
That's
it.
that's so good. So when did this whole thing start with you kind of reacting to memes on Instagram? When did that start?
I think I've been doing it for a while. I was doing it in Florida because I was streaming a lot and I was doing
Hmm.
live streams. And then I just finished my studio here in my house. We just moved to Houston. And I was like, yo, let me just get back into it. And a lot of people kept asking me about it, like, hey, when are you gonna start doing those reaction again? They were so good, like
Hmm.
do it again. So I was like, all right, let me dial it in.
Well, I mean, it's been absolutely great. I love it. And I mean,
Thank
Maxo
you.
Cream too. So how have you known Maxo Cream for a while now?
Yeah. We had a match. He showed up at Reality of Wrestling
Did he?
sometime early
Wow.
last year. Yeah, it was
Wow.
him and Zilla versus me and some other people, and it was a cool match.
Sweet. I love
Yeah.
Maxo Cream. He's great. And well, I
Yeah.
mean, you just mentioned Zilla. Obviously, he's the talk of wrestling right now. Just debuted
Right.
on WWE NXT. How'd you
Yeah.
feel about that?
Oh, long time coming. Zilla's my dog. So when I moved to Houston, he's one of the first people that I connected with. We've known each other before then, but I just knew he was out here, so we started training together, and obviously we wrestled together at Reality Wrestling under Booker T.
So how far back do you know Zilla?
I would say about 3 years now.
Okay.
I knew Jacob before him. I've known Jacob for a while, so
With
it's kind of
MLW,
yep.
great.
So Jacob and I were at MLW together. So yeah.
Absolutely. And so I also saw a video of you and Zilla working out with Maxo Cream. So is that kind of the trio going on there a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah, yeah. We hang out a lot. We train at the Alpha Land quite often, and
Hmm.
one day we just decided to put the cameras on and record it. But yeah, we get after it. We come in and we get a good workout in.
I love it. And
Yeah.
you and Zilla obviously have gone at it in Fourth Rope. I want to know
Mhm.
about your experience. I talked to Josh Bishop yesterday a little bit
Oh,
about Fourth Rope.
nice.
Yeah,
That's my
Josh is
dog too,
he's the
right
he's
there.
the absolute man. He told me to say
Yeah,
hello to you.
yeah, yeah,
And we talked a little bit about Fourth Rope and how
yeah.
awesome it is that they're combining music and art
Hmm.
and wrestling. I want to know what
Yeah.
your experience has been like wrestling at Fourth Rope.
Fourth Rope has been dope, man. And I've been having a lot of fun there. I will say I've had the most fun in my wrestling career at Reality Wrestling and Fourth Row.
Mm.
It's just it's good vibes, good people. We kind of consider ourselves kind of just the underdogs of the industry. Like we're the new NWO. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just all of us. We're hungry. We're after it. We put on a good show. We had a sold out show in Essence Festival where I main evented. It was me, Zilla. Um, Joe Alonzo and Starboy.
Love it. Starboy
Yeah.
Charlie, it's another guy that's on the WWE ID prospect now.
Yep, yep, yep. It was a dope match. A lot of people loved it, and it went viral.
Love it. And so for Fourth Rope, don't I if I'm not mistaken, you wrestled in France as well with Fourth
Oh
Rope?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So
So I was with them in France, did a number of shows with them. So Porto's just been a lot of fun. Smoke and West Side, they are just good
mhm.
brothers, dope guys. They love the business, they love wrestling, they love culture, and it's a seamless fit for me because I'm a fashion guy. I
Mhm.
like to look good, I like to smell good, I like to wrestle good. And it was just like a seamless transition. They hit me up and they were like, "Hey, we're interested. We want you to come wrestle at Fourth Rope," and it was a no-brainer.
Love it. And so is that then one of your pet peeves when people I know sometimes people say that, if the other person you're working with doesn't smell good or something like that, that's a pet peeve. Is that something for you?
Nah, when I step in the ring, I don't care what you smell like. I hit hard, so
Yeah.
I knock the smell right off you. You hear me?
I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
so obviously you have been a bodybuilder for quite some time now, but if I'm not mistaken, when's the last time you've competed?
Actually, bodybuilding was actually the smallest career that I had. I only was doing bodybuilding for a year and a half. My aesthetic, my physique is been like this for a while now. Like I played collegiate football. I got an opportunity to play for a couple of NFL teams. I went to the NFL Combine, went to the CFL. So working out and staying in shape has been something that has just been programmed in my DNA. So it was kind of like a seamless transition. I kind of decided that I wanted to take a step back from the NFL after I met my wife and just kind of living out of a suitcase for about 4 or 5 years, chasing that dream. I said, you know what? Let me try my foot in bodybuilding because I had a number of people keep telling me you should do it, man. You've got a great physique. You should do it. And I'm like, bro, I'm not getting on no damn stage in no tights. Like I'm not doing that. But then I realized I didn't have to, because they have different divisions. They have men's physique, they've got classic, and then they've got the open. And I'm joking, but I eventually stepped on stage as I actually turned pro in both men's physique and classic. So I was
Really?
able to, yeah, I turned pro 2017. No, it was 2016, no, 2017. I competed all the way till 2019, the beginning of 2019, and that's when I got signed by the WWE.
Awesome. So I
Mhm.
want to know then, well, first of all, I have to bring this up. You
Mhm.
tweeted one time, I think it was actually someone recently, that you have been chugging eggs since you were
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
17 years old.
Yeah.
I thought this was just some Rocky. This is a real thing that you do very
Oh
often,
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and
I
it's
mean every
completely healthy.
Of course. I mean, I'm alive. You've seen you've seen how I look. I've been
Yeah.
chugging egg. It first started off as me not having enough time to eat breakfast when I was trying to get to the school bus. And so I would just get egg cartons or just raw
Uh-huh.
eggs and I would break it in there and I would just chug it and I'd get on the bus. I've seen a number of people doing it. I've seen a couple of videos because I was a huge Kobe Bryant fan and I really liked Arnold Schwarzenegger when I was a kid. I still do now. Huge fan. I actually competed at the Arnold. But I would see them do it. And they're prime back then they were prime time athletes. RIP Kobe, one of the best to do it, Mamba mentality.
Yep.
And I was like, Kobe's one of the best to do it, so I'm gonna do it. And so I've been chugging it ever since. I mean, I'm been chugging it for what, like 15, 20 years now. Just and never been sick, never had an issue. And I would say that I'm pretty in good shape.
What is the normal serving of how many eggs you're chugging?
I just like how I work out, I don't really have a set number. It's just if I'm hungry that morning, I normally count to 10. One
Hmm.
Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi, anywhere between 7 and 10, I'm just chugging.
Wow.
So if I were to measure, it'd probably be like 3, 4 cups.
Right.
So about we're looking at maybe 40 to 50 grams of protein in one chug.
There you go.
You
That
know,
seems like the hack.
it's been
So,
working.
yeah, right. It seems like it. So, I want to ask you, obviously you've
Mhm.
been working out now for a while.
Yeah.
What keeps you going to the gym and getting up every day?
I mean, it's programmed in my DNA. I have
Mm,
3 boys, beautiful wife, and I'm just trying to provide. I believe a man is measured by his purpose and his legacy and what you leave behind. You know what I'm saying? And in this wrestling business, it's very unique. It's very difficult. I've fallen in love with it, so I've just been giving my all, giving my best, trying to get that opportunity. So I always say you got to stay ready to you got to stay ready. You never have to get ready. You're never going to catch me gassed. You're never going to catch me out of shape because eventually that opportunity is going to come. That golden opportunity to just, start main eventing and main staging, some of these big, big, big promotions.
So, what is that golden ticket for you?
Um, WWE to get back
Mm,
into the WWE. I feel like I got in prematurely. I got in right before this NIL deal. You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? Like right before they started looking for athletes that look like me. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like
Yep.
it was just I was just premature
Yep.
and then the pandemic happened. And so I was only there for 18 months. Pandemic happened, Black Friday happened. They fired like 60% of NXT, unfortunately.
Mm.
I was part of that group, and so ever since then, I've just kind of been putting my best foot forward and trying to get back where I belong.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like your foot has been on the gas pedal, like you mentioned earlier. You've been wrestling
Hmm.
at Reality of Wrestling, and of course, that is Booker T's promotion. I want to ask
Right.
your relationship with Booker T. What's it like?
Booker's amazing, man. He's been a great mentor. I wish I would have gotten some of that sauce, some of that Shakespeare from
Mm,
Booker years ago because he's just been pouring into me. He's just been going over like psychology with me, just kind of just redefining and just sharpening the judge.
mm.
The judge is a beast. The judge is an animal. But with Booker's, guidance and just his wisdom, is just I feel like I'm on another level. And he's been telling me, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going.
So, I know you have been a tag team wrestler in the past, and of course, you've been a
Hmm.
singles wrestler. Which
Hmm.
do you prefer?
Um, I have fun either way. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Right now, I'm having a lot of fun with my dog, Sam Holloway.
Mm,
We were the reality wrestling. Sorry, my alarm. We were the reality wrestling tag team champions. We just wrestled Hank and Tank from NXT.
hmm.
It hasn't aired yet, but it's a dope match. Y'all just definitely gotta check that out. That's my road plug. All right, and then
Where can we find this?
you on YouTube, you know what
Okay,
I'm
there
saying?
it is.
YouTube type in reality wrestling, or you can go to my Instagram on EJ underscore, real simple.
Perfect.
EJ underscore. And yeah, it just really depends, man. I'm just like I said, I'm trying to build a legacy. I have fun going either way. Singles, you see more of the judge, you see more of like my personality because obviously
Hmm.
I'm in the ring more. With tags, uh I become a savage because you got Sam got my back, so I let a little loose. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I punch hard.
If you were to go back and give yourself a piece of advice before you walked through that curtain in NXT in 2020,
Mhm.
now
Mhm.
knowing all the knowledge you have, everything that you've
That's a great
accumulated,
question.
what piece of advice?
What's funny? When I was in NXT for the 18 months, John Cena came. It
Mm,
was right before Mania, and I asked him this exact question. I said,
mm.
"If you can go back in your career, what would you tell yourself?" And he told me the same thing. He said, "That's a great question." He said, "I don't know what I would tell myself, but he gave me some advice as far as just being able to have certain spots and things that you can hit anywhere,
Mhm,
being able to work on the fly." He said, it's a lost art now, especially with TV wrestling. Um, so a lot of that has just the nuance of being able to work impromptly and just brawl in there is kind of missing.
mm.
Not from everybody. I'm not saying everybody, but in a lot of situations. But if I were to go back and I could talk to myself, I would just tell myself it's about to be wild, it's about to be bumpy, but don't give up. Your boys, because obviously I got into WWE before my boys were born. I have three
Mm.
boys now. Exodus, who's 5, Rock, he's 3, and Judah, he's 2 months old. And they're watching, man. Like last night, we were saying our prayers before dinner, and my oldest just prayed uh God for Daddy to go back to the WWE because he's a
Wow.
huge fan, and it kind of
Wow.
made my heart drop. And I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
I gotta do this. I gotta make this work. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so, yeah, man, it's just don't give up because the boys are watching, and I never want them to say, "Daddy coulda, woulda, shoulda," or "Daddy
Hmm.
quit." Like, because when they get older, they're gonna go through trials and tribulations, and I want them to see Daddy did it. Daddy worked through no matter what Daddy faced. He went through the grinder for years, but he eventually got back to the finish line.
I love that. I think that's the
Yeah,
greatest inspiration, and I'm one of three boys as well in my family. And I
nice.
I feel that same kind of thing looking up to my dad, and I can tell that my dad works hard for us to see, and I can really
Right.
relate to that, and it's inspiring to say the least. I
Yeah.
love that your oldest son did that prayer. I'm sure
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
both heart
Man,
dropping, but also just
yeah, it's tough, man, because sometimes you feel like, man, I'm gonna be real with you, man. Sometimes you feel like you're just in a box and
mm,
you're performing, you're wrestling, and nobody sees you, nobody cares, and like it's like you look up, you see the sky, and you're trying to get to the sky, you're trying to get through that glass ceiling, but you don't know what's going around you because you just got these four corners around you, and that's kind of where I feel right now. Like I know I'm in a good position. I love reality wrestling. I love Fourth Rope,
hmm.
Wrestle Rave, all the promotions that I'm working for. It's awesome. It's dope. But I'll be remiss. I'll be lying to you if I didn't tell you I want to be the best. I want to wrestle the best. I want to be amongst the best because I know I belong. I most people in my position, if they got released, they just quit.
Mm,
They go their separate way. They just give up. And I really thought about doing that. And so, because I felt like, I don't know, I just kind of felt betrayed because I was like, I didn't even get a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even
hmm.
get an opportunity to mess up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my wife really was my foundation where she was like, don't give up, babe. Like, this is something I see how much you love this. I know you can do it. I know who you are. I know what you're made of. Keep going. And she's been my number one supporter since the beginning. Um, and it also helped that, a lot of stars that you see today main eventing, they hit me up. I didn't even know that they knew who I was.
Mm,
And they sent me messages on Twitter. They still keep up with me today and just like, hey man, just checking in. Just I got a lot of people that, and I don't want to name drop because I like my special relationships with them. You know what
hmm.
I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
And I send my matches to them. They watch. They say, "Hey, man," and I always say, "Hey, you got any advice? You got any advice?" And recently, it's been like, "Oh man, just keep going. Like you
yeah.
got it. It's just timing. It's timing.
Mm,
This business is all about timing, and that's what just makes me so excited about my dog Zilla because." he was in a very similar situation. Like he was red hot on the indies, and like, everybody's like, "Oh, when you going to WWE? When you going to WWE?" It's like we don't decide when
Mm,
we go. You know what I'm
right.
saying? They have to let us, hey, we're interested, and they bring you in. And so he just kept his foot on the pedal. Um, and just training with him and just kind of hearing his family legacy, his stories, just motivated me. So when I saw it, he texted me before
Mm.
he debuted, and he was like, "Hey, make sure you lock in. It's about to go down." So I was super excited. I got my
That's
boys
great.
already, and so I got to watch it.
That's awesome. So how
Yeah,
do you right now when you're thinking about it, what's the easiest way of getting out of the box?
man, I think it's just kind of just keep doing what I'm doing.
Mm,
Um, because I'm doing my absolute best. Like I can't say anything else that I could do because I'm training 6 days a week.
mm,
I'm eating right. I'm in the best shape of my life. Mentally sharp, physically sharp, emotionally sharp. I understand the business now because when I first got in, I didn't know nothing,
mm,
bro. Like I didn't even know how to do a damn headlock. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? And so I watched it as a kid, but I didn't understand the psychology. I didn't really understand, and this is years ago.
mm,
Now it's totally different, but I didn't really understand um, a lot of the stuff backstage because it's not the part that's wrestling is not the hard part. It's the
mm.
backstage. It's kind of finding your place, finding where you belong, just knowing what your role is and doing it as best as you can. That's where you kind of have to find where you fit in.
Absolutely. So when you talk about your early days of training, was that in the performance center?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I started in the performance center.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was one of the guys where that was hit up on Instagram, social media. I had a tryout, and then had another tryout 4 weeks later, and then got signed. So my situation from the very beginning was just very, very different because um, my first tryout they were super interested. They liked me, but I was told by the recruiter at the time that they didn't want to pull the trigger because they had just signed another individual that played football at Michigan, and he had similar measurables than me,
Mm.
but he wasn't the judge. He wasn't EJ, but he had similar measurables, and he ended up quitting after like 2 or 3 weeks because he thought it was like you sign up on LinkedIn to go to WWE and you wrestle Randy Orton next Friday. So
Oh
he
my.
thought he thought he was going to go straight to main event, and he didn't want to set up the ring. He didn't want to break down the chairs. He didn't want to do all that stuff.
Right.
So he ended up like quitting after 2, 3 weeks of being signed. So it left a bad taste in the coach's mouth and Hunter's mouth. And they were like, we want to make sure that you really want this, that you really want to be here. So if you come back and do exactly what you did in the first trial, we'll give you an opportunity. And so 4 weeks later, plane ticket, rental car. I'm in Orlando, Florida. And it was back then, I think the trial was like 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
After day two, they pulled me to the side and they said, we're going to offer you a contract.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
And then from there, how long were you there until that release?
18 months. I was in
Eight.
the PC for 18 months. So, right, I literally, um, we had just, but out of the 18 months, I was only in the PC for 9 because of the pandemic.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were there for about 9 months. I did several coconut loops. I had a few matches, and then the pandemic hit. They loved what I was doing. I was getting good feedback. And then the pandemic hit, so we're all just sitting at home. And then we
Mm-hmm.
started doing the being the audience for Raw and SmackDown. And that's when I started meeting the main roster guys and kind of just picking their brains.
Mm-hmm.
I used to pick like Bobby Lashley's brain, Randy Orton, Kofi, Kevin Owens would reach out. Just those guys who were where I was trying to be. I would just pick their brains, and they just kept telling me, just keep going, just keep sharpening your tools. And so that's what I did. And then unfortunately, I got that call and I was like, bruh, like, come on. But I told them before I left that office that you'll be seeing me again.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, I hope so. So,
I think you are on the right path to get there.
right.
And I think I think almost in a way, the way I hear your story, at least, is that that put a hunger into you because that
Oh
was,
yeah,
like you said, that was premature, and I think that's objective that it was premature. The first, it's not often that, your first experience in wrestling is in the performance center. So
right,
you,
right,
like you
right.
said, you didn't know what you were doing, and no one would know what they were doing.
Super green.
But now you're gonna come back, and hopefully, you know everything so much
Oh
better.
yeah,
Like you said, you've soaking up these knowledge. So I
yeah.
think you're on the right path, and you did mention Wrestle Rave, and I know Wrestle
Hmm.
Rave, and I want to ask, they are unique because they have the
Hmm.
6-sided ring. I want
Yeah.
to ask how different that is wrestling in it, and do you like it?
Yeah, I love it. It's super different. We actually have a match this weekend. Russell Rave, here's your plug. I have a main event, wrestling for the title, this weekend, and yeah, that six-sided ring is crazy. So
Mhm.
my first time wrestling with them was the beginning of the summer. They reached out, they found out that I was in Texas, and they're one of the bigger promotions out here in Texas. They have a great turnout, great fan base. And so I was able to go out there and have fun, and we just kept doing business, and now I'm wrestling for that title.
Do you find it tough to work through matches or to take bumps on the 6-sided ring? Is it any different or not really?
No, not really. If anything that's different is just the motion around the ring. Some of the stuff that I do, I do a lot of stuff that's like out of nowhere. I wrestle very explosively. I
Hmm.
use the rings a lot, and kind of ricochet. I do my flying tackle, my flying spear, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes when I'm setting up the move, you know, uh, inherently I'm thinking it's four-sided, but then when I go hit the ropes, I'm like, oh, there's six. All right, let's cook. You know what I'm saying?
You just kind of
So.
remembered in the middle of the match, like, oh shit, there's two more sides.
Right, right. Two more sides. That happened to me last time.
Did it?
Yeah,
Just in the middle of the match?
just middle of the batch. Like, so when I call it, obviously I remember there's six sides, but like when you're in it and you're like, because I get fully invested when I'm in that ring. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like I'm a whole different beast. I always say the judge and EJ are two totally different people. Like EJ as a person. I'm not trying to be seen. I'm kind of like I'm not an introvert, but I'm also not an extrovert.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a neurodivergent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you charge me up, I can have a good time, but most of the time I'm kind of just um kind of in my head, and I just have my small circle. But the judge is like the life of the party. He's intense. He's overzealous, and he's explosive, personality and in the ring. So the dichotomy is awesome because I get to be just 1000%, and I just have a lot of fun when I get to do that.
Do you ever see the judge and EJ meeting up together at any points in life?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes, myself, my natural self is super competitive, and
Mm-hmm.
so is my character, super, super, super competitive. And we're both super creative. Like the judge is super creative. Like I like to work on the fly. That's just like, especially when I'm a heel. I love just kind of feeding off the crowd. Like if the crowd is feeling it, like I'll call audibles, I'll do this, I'll do that. I'll just kind of call on the fly and just get the crowd going because I'm not wrestling for myself. I'm wrestling for the fans. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Yep.
so I feel like a lot of people forget that. Like they just want to get
Mm-hmm.
their moves in. They just want to do this, do that. But my thing is, how is the audience reacting? Or are they with me? If they're with me, let's get them more. Let's bring them in. Let's bring them in even more because they don't remember the moves you do. They remember how you made them feel. And so that's the biggest thing when the judge steps in. They gonna feel me before they see me.
I think what you just said actually means a lot. And like you said, not a lot of people remember it, but it is true that a
Mhm.
lot of wrestlers go out there and they want to get their moves in and they want to do their
Right.
stuff for their reel and their resume. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a star, it's about the fans and how they make you feel
Exactly.
and how you make them
Exactly.
feel. And it's, yeah, that's definitely an important thing to know. And I
Right.
also want to transition quickly before we get to
Mm,
the end of this because I saw
mm,
you presenting at the World MMA Awards.
yeah.
Now, I worked for Ariel Hawani this summer, so the
Mm,
whole team was there. He won like
mm.
Journalist of the Year
Yeah,
at
yeah, I
that
saw
at
him.
yeah, yeah. So I was working with
Mm,
him all summer and that whole
mm,
crew. And so I saw you there,
mm-hmm.
and then I saw you also, you've linked up with John Jones before. I want
Yeah.
to know this MMA lore that you have going on. Have you trained in there? Are you a UFC
Oh
fan?
yeah, 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 yeah. Of course. Yo, so John Jones' team and my team, we're very close. Like
Okay.
rolled around with John Jones. We have
Nice.
each other's numbers. I actually reached out to him because I did jujitsu and Muay Thai since 2017. So I actually did it before I got into wrestling,
Okay.
just to stay in shape
Mm,
and just to sharpen my mind because I like being humbled. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Because as a 6'8", 285-pound guy, um, I can get beat up by a 5'10", 170-pound brown belt any given day on that
yep.
jujitsu mat. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So
mm-hmm.
it's very humbling, and it teaches you never to underestimate anybody, but also it gives you confidence. And I've been a camp body for a lot of big name stars that fight in the UFC
Mm,
because of my size and my tenacity. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I'm a UFC level fighter, but I can go. I can go. You know what I'm saying? I can go, and I don't really talk about it much because um most real fighters don't. Like a lot of the
mm.
ones that parade to be like, oh, I'm a MMA guy, I'm a this and this and that. That's how you know they're not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know
Right.
that. You know
Yeah.
that. Like real fighters don't have to tell you they're fighters. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
They'll show it
And
to you.
they'll show it to you. And so um I don't know. Okay. So yeah, so hold on. I think my mic just got muted.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear
You're
me?
all good. All good.
Okay, so yeah, they I was able to connect with his team. We talk about our faith a lot. His I don't want to say too much, but like he's a great guy.
Mm,
He's given me a lot of positive affirmation as far as, and when I say too much, I won't talk too much about like his team or how I met it
hmm.
because
Sure.
people don't like talk when you give all that information out.
Right.
But
I understand.
yeah, he's a great guy. I've also trained with Mike Perry. Mike Perry's my
No.
dog. I literally just talked to him like right before I got on here.
No way.
Yeah. Mike Perry's a good brother. We used to hang out a lot. His sons were at my son's birthday party. We went to
Oh.
his son's birthday party. So like that whole MMA community, I'm deeply in there. Because I used to train with these guys at
Mm,
Fusion in Orlando. Um, yeah, Alex Pereira trained with him before.
love it.
Yeah, Phil Rowe, Alex Nicholson, just a bunch of guys that I used to just roll around with, and they've just been great guys. Always been supportive, and yeah, that's how I pretty much got into that circle.
Is there any sort of light you can see at the end of the tunnel in terms of MMA potentially pursuing a career in that, or even
Oh.
just not a career, but just training to maybe fight one day?
They've
Re-
been asking me to fight for years, almost 10 years now. I think maybe towards the end of my wrestling career, I might start rolling around jujitsu because I love jujitsu.
hmm.
Jujitsu is like my favorite. I love Muay Thai, but I like jujitsu a little bit more. Um, I might enter a tournament, just
Yeah.
show up. I won't announce it. You just might see me at one of the big tournaments and like, oh dang, I didn't know EJ could roll.
I'm excited to see it. I hope it gets.
Yeah,
I hope it gets recorded. I got to see this.
yeah.
So before we go, I always
Mhm.
like to do something called the certified blind rank. So it's
Okay.
always a blind ranking, and I always try to cater it towards my guests and,
Mhm.
typically what their interests are and their hobbies. And I think I have this down. I think I have yours down. So
Okay.
so you know how a blind rank works.
No, I don't. Explain it
Okay,
to me.
so I'm going to give you five items of this
Hmm.
topic that I'm going to reveal to you in a second.
Hmm.
And essentially, you're going to list them one to five based on the criteria. However, you can't switch. So once you give something three, it has to stay at three.
Hmm.
And then so it's blind, but you're ranking it, and then you'll see at the end how your list is.
Okay.
Okay, so this theme is historical rabbit holes and
Mhm.
conspiracy theories.
Okay, let's
You
go.
seem to be someone that likes to talk about this. I myself am a little interested in this, so I'm excited
Okay.
to see what you say. So
Okay.
so number one is going to be like, I need every answer. I need to know
Okay.
about this. Number
Hmm.
five is like, I can kind of live without knowing this.
Hmm.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. First one, the real purpose and construction of the Egyptian pyramids.
Number one. One.
That's one.
Yeah.
Need to know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Hot start. Okay. Next. What information has been hidden or suppressed by the Vatican?
I know that. So it's not something that I would like seek, but I would say maybe give that like a three.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Next up, whether Atlantis truly existed and where it was.
Five.
5. Don't care
Mhm.
about Atlantis?
I care about it, but it's like I have a general idea where it was and what it because it's a marine kingdom, and so
Hmm.
I can go deep. I could go deep into
You can
this
go
because
deep.
I know about most of this stuff, but the pyramids really intrigue me because they recently found out that there's tunnels underneath the pyramids.
I read about that.
Yeah,
So
so
what
there's
it,
ton. Go ahead.
so what is that all about?
So the tunnels they said go all like almost 3 miles deep, and they believe that these tunnels is what was able to harvest the energy. And so the pyramids, um, I don't call it a conspiracy because it did happen, but the
Mm,
pyramids were not built by humans. Like a lot of the pyramids, it's like there's pre-flood and post-flood. Before the flood with Noah's Ark, before the
hmm
flood, there's the technology is flawless. Like you can it's like different than after the flood. So the Egyptians when they came, they found the pyramids already there and they added onto it. For
mm.
example, if you bought a Lamborghini, would you put graffiti on the Lamborghini? Would you carve into the Lamborghini?
Of course not.
Exactly.
Right.
So when the Egyptians pulled up, they saw it there, and so they wanted to make it their own, and they started carving into it. They started hieroglyphics because
Hmm.
if you built something that nice, why would you destroy it like that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff that has been coming to surface.
Well, this is interesting. Okay, so you have 1, 3, and 5. So you have two
Yep,
and two and 4 left.
got you.
Okay. Next up is whether extraterrestrial influenced ancient civilizations.
Two, it
2.
did. Yeah, absolutely did. I was actually going to do a video about that pretty recently, but I'm doing a soft launch on my Instagram with
Hmm.
all this stuff because I I used to talk about it um often on my private story, but when I was at AEW, I guess somebody wasn't happy about it, and so
Mm.
they kind of said chill a little bit, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I was like, all right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so then your number 4 would be whether an advanced civilization existed before recorded human history.
Of course, yeah. I
So,
mean, the Bible talks about there was governments and principalities
mhm,
before Adam and Eve even existed. So for the fallen angels to have fallen down, that means that they had governments and principalities in heaven or whatever realm that they were in for them to get kicked out and then come to earth. So yeah,
interesting. So are you happy with your list?
absolutely.
Good. And so I gave you the one, but I want to know what your one would be if you could choose. What do you want to know the most? Is it the Egyptian pyramid one?
Yeah.
It is. That's your
Yeah.
number one, no matter
Hmm.
what.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, do you think you will know not all there is to know, but what you're seeking to know in your lifetime?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I think we are in the days of Noah right now, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of stuff that's happening that's been revealed to us, like the Great Disclosure. Like for years, our whole life, the government's told us aliens don't exist. Now aliens exist.
Yep.
They go, aliens are here, and then as kids, we were like, oh, we used to think mermaids were just like this mythological creature, but recently there's just been so much video of evidence of like seamen, Navy people seeing these sea creatures in the water, and like,
Mhm.
you know, the ocean has not been discovered at all. A lot of people don't know this, but NASA was originally created to discover the ocean, not space.
Mhm.
And so they found something the first time they went down there, and they're like, ah, nah, we good. Let's just go up
Right.
to space. You know what I'm saying?
We're not going
So,
down, we're going up.
right, we're gonna go up. So
Wow.
just food for thought.
That is, I mean, it seems like you could go on and on about this,
Oh
but
yeah, come on. I
if
could go. I could go.
I don't
This
want to
is
keep you,
no,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, you were saying.
I said I can go on and on about this because it interests me. I love
Mm-hmm.
learning about history because once you know where you came from, you know where you're going.
Mm,
And it's kind of like my wrestling career. A lot of people know me from like, oh, the NXT days and my early MLW days. And now when they see me, they're like, wow, EJ is different. Like this
mm.
is a different person. This is a different judge. So it's always good to know where you came from so that you know where you're going.
Absolutely. And I mean, look, you've been all over the world with like the coolest people in the world, wrestling, MMA, you name
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
You're very knowledgeable about wrestling, and I'm very excited to see where you end up. And I have very high hopes it's going to be WWE and somewhere on that level. But I'm
I
wishing you the best
appreciate
of
it.
luck, And of
Thank you, brother.
course, and I appreciate you taking the time. I hope you had fun. I had a great
Absolutely.
conversation.
Thank you. This has been awesome.
All right, EJ, take care and best of
All
luck.
right, man. Be blessed, brother.
All right, there it is. My conversation with an absolute sweetheart and a legend, EJ Nduka. He was so nice, man. He's 6'8". He is absolutely massive. He's a bodybuilder. He's a wrestler. He's done literally everything there is to do in combat sports. And like he mentioned, he's maybe getting into MMA a little bit. Of course, he said he linked up with John Jones. He's actually very good friends with John Jones, which is very, very, very cool. And of course, doesn't get much better than that to be friends with John Jones and be able to roll around with him. But man, EJ Nduka, super super interesting conversation. I had a great time chatting with him, talking about everything, man, absolutely everything from being a dad to wrestling to what he wants to show his kids and the inspiration really behind motivating himself to get up every day and work out and go to the gym and get in the ring and wrestle. And it really was inspiring. It was a great conversation that, EJ and I had. But man, the reason why I love this show is we get to talk about wrestling, right? Everyone loves professional wrestling, but we get to talk about what the guest likes, right? I love to make the guest feel comfortable and happy and excited to chat with me because the thing is, in my opinion, right, the guests are wrestlers and they're doing so much media and they're doing so much promotion and they're talking about the same thing, right? Over and over and over again. And of course, I want to get to the important things and I want to be able to plug their information so they can make numbers and go out in the world and get bigger. That's the point of this. I want people to hear their stories and to understand who they are behind the curtain, but it's also important to talk about what are they like in real life. We see them in the ring, but what are they like behind the curtain? Like I said, I love it. So to be able to talk about conspiracy theories with EJ Nuka was certainly a time. I had a great time with it. Telling me about how he is very confident mermaids exist. How about the tunnels under the pyramids in Egypt, and what else, man? I mean, we had a long chat after we were chatting after we went off air about tons of different stuff. And he was sending me videos to watch. I was watching YouTube videos and getting back to it with a report card and what I thought and if I believed it and if I didn't. But man, he's super spiritual, but he's also super influential. And he really has a great figure. He was super, super nice. And, someone that looks that intimidating and is absolutely ginormous, it's funny and they end up being the nicest ones. So that was a great conversation. But of course, before we get to Doc Gallows, our last guest, do have to run into some quick news and notes. Of course, Ring of Honor running Death Before Dishonor tonight. Their big pay per view live from the 2300 Arena. Of course, the old ECW Arena in Philadelphia. Some good matches on the card, man. I'm actually pretty excited. Bandito versus Nick Wayne, Deonna Purrazzo versus Steph Delander, Lee Moriarty versus Katsuri Shibata. Gonna be good, man. Should be a fun card. And of course, Philly crowd. Of course, I am a Philly boy. I love the CW Arena. I love the 2300 Arena. I used to go see the MLW tapings there back when Philly was MLW's home. Of course, now AEW, Ring of Honor, kind of getting into it. Even WWE got into 2300 Arena with NXT a few years ago. I think it was a year ago, actually. But it should be an exciting card, man. But that is not the only thing happening tonight, of course. Friday Night SmackDown tonight. 15,000 tickets sold. 15,000 tickets sold tonight in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Because there is a first time matchup. It is Kevin Owens going for the Universal Championship. CM Punk. Kevin Owens versus CM Punk for the Universal title. Man, am I excited to see this. Man, I mean, Punk obviously goes over. Does he? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we're going to come back to this tomorrow and be like, yeah, did he? I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Owens goes over and then it kind of transitions it back to Punk at a bigger show. But I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Owens steals the belt. Maybe he does a little run out the arena like CM Punk did back in Money in the Bank in 2011 with John Cena in that infamous leaving WWE match with the championship belt. But man, there's two great wrestling events tonight. I am super excited. You can't help but be excited about good professional wrestling, especially when there's multiple events. Does it get overwhelming? Absolutely, it does, but in a good way. In a good way, right? There's so much wrestling to watch, and there's different arenas, different atmospheres. It's a different look every time you switch the channel. I love it. I absolutely love it. But without further ado, it is time to get to our last guest of the show. Formerly known as Luke Gallows in WWE, he was a part of the Straight Edge Society in 2009 with CM Punk and several other members. He was a member, or still is a member, of the Club and the Bullet Club in Japan, which in Japan is an absolutely legendary faction. If you're unaware, many, many great stars have came out of the Bullet Club. Of course, Kenny Omega kind of being the infamous leader there, but AJ Styles as well. And in WWE, the Club, AJ Styles, Doc Gallows, and the Machine Gun Carl Anderson were a part of the Club. Of course, throwing up this bad guy right there. But it was an absolute honor to talk to Doc Gallows. Of course, he is now the MLW World Tag Team Champion, and man, he is everywhere. He is absolutely everywhere. Like, of course, people know him as Luke Gallows from WWE, right? From my childhood, I used to watch Luke Gallows. I had his action figures. I used to play with his action figures. And now it was me and him talking face to face. Super, super nice guy. He was driving. Connection got a little off. The video kind of, it got a little, but this happens. It happens. It happens. It's good practice for me, especially someone that is just getting into this world. He was driving. I didn't love that he was driving, but he was, and he didn't want to pull over. So we had a great chat. We had a great chat. Of course, I wanted to make sure his eyes were on the road. We had a great conversation. His video goes a little blurry at sometimes, but the audio should be crystal clear. Anyways, myself, Josh the Mark, Doc Gallows. Hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. See you guys after. What is going on, everybody? How are you doing today? My name is Josh the Mark Markowitz, but of course, we are here today with a very, very special guest. Now, he is, of course, one half of the MLW Tag Team Champions, but he is a man who's been just about everywhere and done just about everything there is to do in professional wrestling, right? From the Straight Edge Society to the Bullet Club, WWE, TNA, New Japan, the list goes on. He's one half of the Good Brothers, and of course, the MLW Tag Team Champion, Doc Gallows. Doc, how you doing today?
I'm great, Josh. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. I'm stoked to have you. So I'm 20 years old, so you were a big part of my childhood growing up watching you on my TV. So I want to say thank you.
Bring it on. I like that.
Yeah. I want to say face to face, thank you for, all the great memories. And of course, now, you're according to your cage match database, right? We don't know how accurate that is, but you're coming up on your 1500th match in professional wrestling. If that's accurate, I want to know how you're feeling. Yeah.
I think it's a lot more than that. I debuted when I was 18 years old, and I think they're having like a few years late, but
right.
That's okay. 1500.
So what year did you debut officially?
2002, I debuted. A lot of places listed a few years after that. And,
right.
I'm just a wrestler's wrestler, and the fact that I'm always out there wrestling. So I rarely take a weekend off. I enjoy being out there on the road. I enjoy the stadiums and the big arenas as well as the bingo halls, man. So it's just I wanted to do it since I was 8 years old. I'm very fortunate that I'm still able to do it at a very high level. So I'm thankful for that.
Absolutely. And, you mentioned traveling the road. Now, you've worked every continent in this world, literally. Not many professional wrestlers can say this. Is there
Not many professional wrestlers wanted to do that, I don't think.
Exactly. So I want to know, is there anywhere you haven't worked that maybe you would want to? Is there anything still on that bucket list?
Man, we love, and I speak for my partner, Carl the Machine Gun Anderson as well, we love going to new places, exploring new countries. I'm over 100 countries on the list right now. But I will say, I've never wrestled in Antarctica.
Wow.
And I tweeted that I had wrestled everywhere one time, and someone said, you haven't been to Antarctica. And I said, there's no wrestling in Antarctica. Someone tweeted back and said there is. So I am waiting on that call for Antarctica Pro or whatever it is.
Is that really a thing?
I need to see it.
I have never heard of professional wrestling in Antarctica.
If it's really there,
right,
someone's got to prove it to me, but we'll see.
Someone's got to, because that's the last continent on the list.
That's the last one, brother.
That is incredible. And, you've been everywhere, but of course you've been in so many locker rooms with so many people over the world, literally the best wrestlers in the world. What is it about the MLW locker room that, is different or that you love about it?
It's an eclectic mix, man. In a lot of ways, it's an island of misfit toys, which is a term of endearment that I really
Mm-hmm.
love. Because you see everything from the hottest up and coming acts in the business to battle tested worldwide veterans that you have seen for years in every country. I mean, guys who spilled blood in Mexico, Japan, all the places that, we all read about before I got to go see them and
Mm.
participate in it. So you look around that locker room and you see some of those faces, and I think it's a really special thing that MLW has been able to bring all these people, all these talents from around the world under one roof. And I think it's a unique time in professional wrestling where you can see these partnerships with different companies
Yeah.
that does create dream matches that in the past you were never able to see.
Mm.
When we were kids, but I would not know when you were a kid. Watch fastest. But when I was a kid, it was like you watched WWF, you watched WCW. Some people could see some ECW, and
Mm.
there was not hardly ever any cross pollination. If there was, it was a contract you didn't know about because we
Mm.
weren't as privy to the internet. And today you can see a guy show up from Japan, and he's a feud with a guy from Mexico, and there's two different companies involved, and it's in a different ring and a third company. And I think MLB's done a great job of capturing that. And I think it's a great thing for the fans to get to experience, and us as pro wrestlers to challenge ourselves in these different genres of professional wrestling.
Absolutely. I think you said it best. I think what MLW does so well, like you mentioned, is put all of these different styles of professional wrestling. Essentially, in my opinion, at least, you get a little bit a taste of every single flavor of wrestling, which there's so many flavors to taste, but I think MLW does that so well.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you haven't seen MLW Fusion, I'm on here to do the media. A fan, if you haven't seen MLW, check it out. Saturday's free. It's on YouTube. It's on BN Sports. And I guarantee you, as a professional wrestling fan, you won't be let down by that show because there truly is something for everyone. I've said for years. I equate great professional wrestling to the circus. If you don't like the bearded lady, maybe you like the guy getting shot out of the cannon or the person walking the tightrope. And we have all of that under the guise of professional wrestling at MLW, a highly entertaining show. And, growing up kind of a 90s attitude era kid, you get that in there too. I love a wild brawl. I love to see some blood spilled.
Right.
I love to see it go out into the parking lot. And they are not afraid to show that. They're not afraid to embrace it. They're not afraid of the fact that, professional wrestling is a little violent at times. And
Hmm.
we at MLW, we're excited by that fact.
So you've had these moments, right? These championships all over the world and these matches with the best people in the world. But you've teamed with none other than CJ Gallows, your son. I want to
Yeah.
know, talk to me about what that means to you.
It means the world to me. He grew up in the wrestling business. Every company that I was ever in, he'd been on the road with me at one time or another. A lot of people don't know this. I've always promoted professional wrestling in Georgia and abroad, even when I was working in the companies and I wasn't necessarily supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been along for that ride, and we kind of had a deal. As long as his grades in college were good, I would help with the wrestling. And he
Mm-hmm.
ended up, he does not need near as much of my help as I thought that he would. And the funny part about it, I asked him the other day, we were driving, and I said, I just want to tell you, it was a sentimental father son moment. I said, son, like, I don't know how long we'll get to do this. I don't know
Yeah.
where your career will go. I hope it goes as far as your dreams can take it. I don't know where mine will go. We don't know how long this lasts, but I want to tell you it's a really special time for me right now. And he said, well, Dad, I just want you to know that it's not enjoyable for me. And I don't like the fact that you get all the spotlight in the matches and people are happy because they know you from TV. And I said, well, there you have it, folks.
Yeah. That's awesome. Wait, so how old is your son?
He's 19 years old.
He's 19. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So would be his first year in the business then?
Yeah. He's he's wet behind the ears. He's about 6 months in. He's doing really well, but he's very, very new.
Got it. That is a funny story. Do you feel like you're outshining him in the ring? Or are you given the spots?
No, I love having him there, especially when we're, when we're doing one of my shows or something, because I expect him to carry the workload. But
Right.
he doesn't love when I get tagged in, and I deserve the roar of the crowd, son. I worked for it.
Look, it's fair enough. It's absolutely fair enough. And I want to know, was there ever a character or a story that perhaps you told on whether it was television or really anywhere in your career that you think maybe went under the radar or that you just really enjoyed doing?
Um, I always thought like, and this is early on because I was fortunate later in my career, like when Carl and I were together, even when we
Hmm.
felt like we were in a down period, we always came out of it, even if it
Hmm.
was showing up in another company and coming out of it and splashing hard. But I think early on, I really thought they kind of dropped the ball with the Straight Edge Society and what that could have been.
Hmm.
And I pitched to Vince McMahon at the ripe old age of 25 a massive Festus heel turn, and it fell on deaf ears because they said Festus was a silent character. Well, before
Mm,
I was Festus, they praised my promo work. So I always thought they
right.
could have at least given it a chance, and I could have been the guy that people could have beaten on the way up. But
Mm.
nobody did, and I was very young in my career, and we evolve and we move on. So that would be the answer for that one.
So how quick did Festus transition into the Straight Edge Society?
Uh, yeah, I knew that whenever they separated me from Jesse, that there was not going to be much Festus without it. So he
Right.
unfortunately got let go. They wanted had to be repackaged, so I went home and kind of dropped all the Festus weight I had to do that character, and I was ready to
Hmm.
go. And they basically told me they wanted me to portray a heel masked character on Raw, and I went down to NXT, which was then Florida Championship Wrestling, to try out doing that. And as I was there trying out, they had sent CM Punk and The Undertaker down there to look at and because Vince McMahon wanted a heater for Punk in
Mm.
his feud with The Undertaker, which arguably he probably did not need.
Right.
Fortunately for me, all the big guys were doing terrible that day, and they said,
Right.
"Well, Festus is here, and we know Festus, and he can work." And that's kind of how I got the gig. So it worked out. It was a good day.
It worked out. You were right in the right place in the right time.
Right. Absolutely, man.
That's funny. So I want to ask you, I ask all my guests this when they come on the show. I want to know if you were to go back in time to 2002 and talk to Dorian Devil before he walked through that curtain at NWA Tri-State show. I want to know what you're telling
Yeah.
the first Doc Gallows, the first rendition of Doc Gallows.
Man, I would just tell them to stop and smell the roses along the way because it's a long, hard, highly enjoyable ride. And the only real regret I have in pro wrestling, sure you could make different career decisions, or you could have went one way or another, or you could have chosen one contract over another. But my only real true regret, and I tell the young guys this, and they roll their eyes like I rolled my eyes at the older guys, not older guys, men in their prime. Um, I regret the passage of time. I got to do
Mm,
so much cool shit, and it goes by in the blink of an eye. So if you can, you should really stop and smell the roses because we all got into this. We want to do it. For me, it was a childhood dream, and I got to stand on the coolest stages in the entire world. And you get in this rush where it's like, what's the next thing? What's the next angle?
mm,
What's the next match? What's the next payday? What's the next promotion? What's the next piece of merch? What's the next pay per view? And next thing you know, you wake up and 10 years have gone by. So,
right.
if you can try to enjoy it while you're in that process, um, I don't know. That would be my advice to a younger me and to up and coming young wrestlers today because it really is the time of your life.
Yeah, I mean, it's of course, there's up and down roads like you mentioned, but it certainly seems like it. And you mentioned wanting to be a wrestler when you were older, and I was the same way. And I trained a little bit, but now I'm kind of in this media space here. But as two wrestling fans, just talking, I want to know, do you have any? And I'm sure you do, especially because I'm only 20, so I grew up in like the 2010s WWE, right?
Yeah,
But now I'm kind of just getting into New Japan, Masawa, Kobashi, that type of stuff, and I
great
love it.
stuff.
I absolutely love it, and I also
Great.
love Lucha Libre. I'm really trying to, get out of this bubble that I was in when I was a kid. So I want to know,
Sure.
do you have any juicy wrestling matches that I need to watch? Not like the general best match all time. Like I want something, and I'm sure you have something good, but I want, something that I should definitely get my hands on and watch.
Well, 20 years go back through the catalog, you really need to go back um, in your fandom and watch Funk and move for move. I'm telling you to watch the response they could elicit from a crowd. And you see how, Brody would genuinely scare people. Stan
Mm,
Hansen was the same way. Those guys have a mystique about them that we kind of lost when kayfabe kind of went by the wayside. But I think those guys were truly magical wrestlers. And it wasn't something that, I was too young to see it on TV anyway. But those guys wouldn't have been on my American television. I would have gotten anyway.
right.
But those guys really captivated me when I got to be like an older teenager and was going back and tape trading or looking at YouTube clips or whatever.
Mm,
Those were special guys, and I think that anybody can watch Terry Funk at any time, and he stands the test of time. I think he's one of the greatest to ever do it,
mm,
and he could truly make something out of nothing. You could put him in there with the best guy in the world or a guy that could barely walk on his 2 feet,
right.
and you'd be entertained. So I think those guys are very special.
Absolutely. And that is and yet another field I still have to get involved in. And of course, with YouTube and everything out now, I feel like wrestling is so accessible, and that's the best part. Of course, MLW Fusion on YouTube, which is just incredible. Wrestling is seemingly free now for fans, and that's the best part. It's so accessible.
Well, I love the fact that MLW, the Fusion show, I think is so exciting. I think it's so unique. And you can try it out for free right now. Beeps, BN Sports, and YouTube, all on Saturday nights, all free. And playing into seeing wrestling for free, they have it right at MLW. They
Yeah.
know that people are crunched right now a little bit. Tickets start at $15 for all of our fall events for Charleston, South Carolina, for Philadelphia, and onward. And while we're on that subject, I have to plug in because it's near and dear to my heart.
Absolutely.
Friday, September 11th, Charleston, South Carolina, the night before the massive MLW Fusion tapings that will take place Saturday, September the 12th. Talking Shop Live returns, the
Yes.
podcast that I host with my co-host and tag team partner and fellow World Tag Team Champion Machine Gun Carl Anderson. We'll be live at the beach at the Windjammer, Charleston, South Carolina. We'll have a host of great MLW stars. Our zany characters from the Talking Shop world will be on hand, and we will be highly accessible for all the fans. And that's going to kick off a great weekend of MLW. Of course, that will commence on the 12th with the massive MLW Fusion taping. So come out, plan your weekend, stay at the Windjammer, get your tickets, and I guarantee you're going to have a great time.
Absolutely. I know I always love my MLW tapings, and like you said, the best part is it's cheap, right? You can't I can't always afford my WWE tickets. I can't always afford even my AEW tickets.
Sure.
But I go to MLW. I remember when I was in high school, MLW did the 2300 Arena residency. So they were there,
Yes.
just about every month. So I was always front row for less than $100. I mean, it was an absolute steal. Seeing some of the best wrestlers that are now on TV, of course, with MLW, and even the biggest stars that I've ever seen. I've seen people from Japan, of course, Kojima, people along those lines that got to wrestle in MLW, and it's great.
Absolutely. Certainly something for everybody, and it's budget friendly. So, yeah, as a Philadelphia wrestling fan, that's great. Philadelphia is a great wrestling town. Charleston, South Carolina is a great wrestling town. We won the titles in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was
Hmm.
MLW's debut. So it's really fun to be a part of these live events and these fusion tapings as we go around the country. And, Machine Gun and I have made a home out of MLW, and we're certainly enjoying it. And I think all the fans will as well.
Absolutely, and of course, MLW's been everywhere, and maybe MLW Antarctica is next. What do you think?
Holy shit, we got to put you on creative. What a night.
I try. We gotta fill the holes.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, MLW Antarctica, I am on board. I don't know the logistics on getting that thing set up, but I'll do the media for that too.
I love it. I love it. Now, before I let you go, I always do one thing with my guests. It's called the Certified Blind Rank. Have you ever done a blind ranking before?
I have not. If this is a Mount Rushmore, it's going to be too hard.
It's not a Mount Rushmore, but it's so essentially a blind ranking is I'm going to give you five different, ideas of the theme. I'm going to present a theme to you. It's catered to your interests, I believe. So it should be,
Okay.
pretty easy, pretty fun. But essentially, I'll give you five different things. However, you won't know what the next one is coming next. So you'll hear one, and then you have to rank it 1 through 5, and
Okay.
then you don't know what's coming next. And there's five of them.
Great.
Okay, so I think I have this down. I always try to cater to my guests' interests. I think I have this down. Today's theme is going to be you're going to be blind ranking day on the lake activities.
Ooh, yes.
Good? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Here.
great.
Okay, we're gonna have number 1 be like the best. That's the best activity you could do. Number 5 be like, yeah, it's all right. All right, you ready? All right, let's do it. All right, first, early morning sunrise fishing.
That's a. My wife's holding up to 5. I'd say a 3, depending on the day and how long we've been on the lake for the weekend.
Okay, okay. So that's a 3. All right, that's fair. Okay, next, tubing behind the boat, of course.
That's a 3 as well.
That's a 3. Well, wait, you have to choose what you have to do 1, 2, 4, or 5.
So
Yeah,
they're all. Oh
yeah,
man.
so they're all on the same list. So that's what makes it hard. You don't know what's coming next.
Okay, so am I the man in the tube or am I the boat driver? Did you
You
think
are you are the man in the tube for this one.
that's a 4?
It's a 4. Okay. Okay. Next up, jet skiing.
That's a 2. That's a 2.
2. Okay. So you have 1 and 5 left.
I really painted myself in a corner
Yeah.
here.
You really put
Josh.
yourself in a corner. All right, you have 1 and 5 left. Next up is going to be grilling by the water.
Damn. I don't know what the next one's going to be, so I guess I have to begrudgingly make grilling by the water fun.
5. Okay. I think you're going to like the next one, but we'll see. The
I
next
think
one,
so. I think
which
so too.
which is your number 1, is going to be the pontoon boat with the family.
Pontoon boat with the family is absolute number 1.
Absolute
Yes.
number 1. So would you have changed anything on that list, or did that go exactly as you wanted it to?
I probably would have elevated grilling a little bit.
Yeah.
My
From
wife
5.
says 5 should be 3. Yeah.
5 should be 3.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, Doc Gallows, man, this has been an absolute pleasure. Again, I've watched you from my childhood, so I really appreciate it. This has been awesome being able to talk face to face. I really appreciate you taking the time. Of course, everybody has to check out MLW and everything else that Doc Gallows is a part of. It seems like he's everywhere in the world, doing everything in the world, and I really appreciate the time.
I appreciate you coming on, having me on. Josh, everybody, please check out the Talking Shop podcast. It's available on all podcasting platforms. Stay social media at the _big LG and at Machine Gun KA. We have a lot of big stuff coming up in the podcast world and otherwise. Thank you so much, Josh the Mark. I'm sure we'll talk again soon. And best of luck. 20 years old and you're already killing it. Good for you, dude.
Absolutely. Thank you, Doc. I appreciate it. There it is. My interview with Doc Gallows, the MLW World Tag Team Champion, alongside Carl Anderson and the Good Brothers. Man, that was sick. That was so sick. I mean, I remember in 2017, like, I don't know why, but at WrestleMania 33, when the Hardy Boys returned, originally it was supposed to be a 3-way, a 6-man ladder match, and it ends up being an 8-man ladder match with 4 tag teams. I don't know why, but I was rooting for Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Like, it was just one of those wrestlers that I loved. I don't know why. I'm not always a huge fan of the big wrestlers, right? The tall, big wrestlers. I'm more of a lucha libre type style guy, but man, I loved Luke Gallows growing up, right? And now to see him still killing it, of course, we had a bunch of funny conversations. Of course, his son now coming up in the independent scene and what it means for him to be able to tag with his son, but also hearing his son get all mad at him because he's taking the spotlight from him. And he's like, no, you got to pay your dues. I already paid mine. Like, he really is a funny guy. Super, super, super nice. Of course, being very nice, wishing me best of luck, which was super cool to hear from a guy like that. And just hearing him tell stories, man, he's an incredible storyteller in and out of the ring. He is a promoter at heart. He is a pro wrestler at heart. And of course, him talking about MLW Antarctica, which MLW, I don't know if you're listening. If you are, MLW Antarctica. Doc Gallows has 1 continent left on his bucket list. That's he's been to every continent besides 1. It's Antarctica. He needs to be in Antarctica, but he needs to wrestle in Antarctica. I don't even know. Doc Gallows said in our chat that there is a wrestling company in Antarctica. No way, right? There's no way. Do people even live in Antarctica? Like, people live there to research, right? But no one's wrestling in Antarctica. There's no way. I got to do research about this. If there is, I can promise you this. I'm doing my next episode just on this. I'm going to interview the promoter. I'm going to interview the top star, whatever, Antarctica Wrestling Federation, AWF, whatever it is, AWE, Antarctica Wrestling Entertainment. I don't know what it is, but Antarctica wrestlers, if you're listening to this, Antarctica wrestling promoters, if you're listening to this, if you're real, if you exist, hit me up, please. I'd love to interview you. But wow, that was really fun. It really was. He was a great storyteller. He was a great person, right? And unfortunately, that does bring us to the end of the show with an action-packed show, right? We had EJ and Nduka, which was super fun. Of course, we just had Doc Gallows. Next week on the program, we're going to have former AEW star and still independent wrestling star Alan Angels. He's going to join the program. He's wrestling on Ring of Honor Weekly. He's also wrestling all over the world. Alan Angels. He was a former member of the Dark Order as number 5 with Brody Lee, of course, before the unfortunate passing of Brody Lee. But Alan Angels is going to join the program. We're going to have a nice chat with him and some other guests that I cannot announce quite yet because we're still confirming it. We're still confirming them. But I can assure you they are fun guests. They're entertaining guests. I always want to get the best guests for you guys. Not always the most famous guests, right? Not always the Roman Reigns and the John Cena, but the people with personality, the people that are wanting to tell stories and chat and converse and that have great stories. Of course, Alan Angels was a part of a very famous match with Kenny Omega on AEW Dynamite. So I'm excited to hear about what he has to say about that. I'm definitely going to ask him about that. But anyways, guys, that brings us to the end of the show. This was the Certified Mark Show, episode 2. Once again, my name is Josh the Mark. I really hope you guys enjoyed this show as much as I did. I'm really having a great time doing this, and I cannot wait to keep doing it and keep talking to the wrestlers and keep talking to you guys. Of course, the support means the world. Like, comment, subscribe. Everything means the world. I really appreciate it. And of course, follow the Instagram at Certified Mark Show. Follow the Twitter at jmarco246. It's confusing. And of course, my Instagram, personal Instagram, joshmarco12. The handle will be below. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. This was an absolute blast. Certified Mark Show, episode 2. Josh the Mark is out of here.